Welcome to Dear Community Live. This is the final wrap-up for a special project called Pop-Up Kids Theater, taken on by Danielle Moreau. And let me tell you a little bit about the 24-Hour Citizen Project before we get started. So the 24-Hour Citizen Project is an event where we connect people with community-focused ideas with expertise and financial backers to make those ideas happen. It's an event created for citizens to impact their community directly through the pursuit of citizen-led projects. And I am here with Danielle Moreau, who I met I guess a couple of years ago at a TEDx event.
Yeah, it was a TEDx event. Yeah, I just happened to run into you.
and I met this woman that had all kinds of energy, and I said, we're doing this thing called the 24-Hour Citizen Project, and you seem like somebody that has some really good ideas. And then you went on to share with me about a project that you were part of in Orlando, Florida, which is where you used to live.
Right.
And I said, we need to talk more. And I think you came to an idea exchange event. So look, tell us the 60-second pitch about your project, just a little bit about it, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into it.
Okay, well, what it is the reason why it's called a pop-up kids theater is in 3 hours, kids they create the costumes, they create the scenery, they rehearse the play, and they perform a play. And this is something that I did in Orlando, Florida, with a theater called the Black Swan Theatre. We had a name for it and everything. We did it for like 6 years in Lake Eola Park, and it was formed by some people that worked at Disney, and they wanted to get back to the community. So it was kind of funny because most of our audience were parents that brought their kids, and a lot of homeless people that would go into the park and stuff. Sure. But we didn't mind, and we did it for 6 full years. We got funding through Disney, through Darden restaurants and stuff. And so when I met you, I was like, that just popped in my head. I was like, wow, we used to do this thing, in Orlando. And I thought, well, maybe this is something I could bring to Lafayette.
I love the impromptu nature of it. Like, so if you go to a parent and you say, hey, we have this theater program, and your kid would really be good, to play Shrek in the play, whatever. They're thinking play practice. They think, just one more thing to do.
Right.
This isn't that.
No,
right?
Not at all. And we want the parents there. We want them involved and stuff. So that's why it's something that they could, and it's only 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it in Orlando. We made sure that it started at a certain time and ended at a certain time. And we got the other family members involved too,
right,
if they wanted to. It wasn't something you just drop off the kids, know.
Yeah.
But and it was we did the full thing right then. So it wasn't like you had to rehearse and the tension and the stress on anybody. We just wanted to play, basically.
Yeah, which I love. I mean, so if I'm going to the Pop-Up Kids Theater, I'm going not really knowing what we're going to be performing. I'm not going to know the script. I'm not going to even know what props that we're going to be working with. You may not even know what props.
Correct.
Right?
No, that's true. Because it was kind of like, it's made on the fly.
Okay.
And we I think of it like when I tell people about it, I think of Spanky and Our Gang and what they did. They had sheets, for their costumes. They had, cardboard for their backdrops. It's very similar to that idea. And if the kids want to, change a scene, and if they want to, they have a better line for it. Yeah, we go ahead, right on.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's back up a little bit. I remember meeting you at that TEDx event.
Yeah.
I think you came and shared the idea, and you kind of felt encouraged, like, this is something that I can do, right? I could kind of model it off of Orlando. So walk me through the process of, like, I've got this idea. Walk me through the process of, like, I'm going to apply for the 24-Hour Citizen Project. What kind of gave you that stroke of confidence?
Well, when I met you, I also met Shannon Miller, who is part of the drama department at UL. And so he listened to what I said, and we both looked at each other like, well, why don't we do this together? And he was very interested in it. So, and then I thought, well, this And I'll be honest, I was looking for something to keep me in Lafayette. I had my bags packed. I was ready to get out of here, probably go back to Florida.
Yeah.
So, because I'd been here for about 2 years, been back,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
you're from here. You're from here
originally, but
right?
moved away.
Moved away, and you came back for whatever reason, and you were kind of like, I'm itching to get back to Florida.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I missed my friends. I missed the
Yeah.
beach and stuff.
Yeah.
And so working with Shannon, and then I was like, okay, maybe this is something. If I get it, maybe it's something that'll keep me here for another year. That's all I thought, you know, whatever. So then working with him, you know, I got inspired, and I said, well, we should do this together. And so we started working on it. We started getting our plan together, our proposal together. And the more I got into it, the more I was like, hey, this is kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I submitted it, you know, part of the Citizen Project. Yeah.
And
amazing.
and you got funded, so you participated in the event, right? So you had a really busy Friday night where you met with a bunch of what we call subject matter experts,
Right.
And then you gave a pretty compelling pitch, because I remember in the backer huddle, everybody said, if you don't vote for the pop-up kids theater, you just don't love kids.
Oh my!
You're just not any fun.
What a tagline!
I know, right?
Wow, that's cool.
So at the end of the night, like I remember you holding a $2,000 check.
Right. Yeah.
I remember there's tears coming down your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that. Why was it an emotional experience for you?
It still is.
It is for me too.
Oh my God. It's something that I've always done. I used to work with kids in this area too. I started like a softball team in the north side of town when I was in college. So coming back after 40 years, I didn't know how I was going to fit in.
Yeah.
And be accepted in the community again. Yeah. I'm crying. And so it just reaffirmed a lot of things for me, you know. Oh wow, this is impromptu.
I told you.
No, it did. It reaffirmed what I'd done before.
Yeah.
And where my heart is.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do for Lafayette, you know, because I didn't know where to fit in. I'll be honest.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you say that, because there is. And you probably share a little bit of this, is that like, think of all the cities that exist out there, right? I mean, the big cities that actually we lose a lot of people to Austin, Texas. We lose a lot of people to Houston, and you were thinking, I want to go back to Orlando. Those cities are great. And I love going. I love the food scene in Austin. And this isn't a knock on Austin at all.
Right.
But when you're in those kind of bigger communities, you enjoy them, or at least I enjoy them, because I feel like I could soak up all the fun amenities. But it's not a place that I feel like I can change.
Oh, that's a good point.
And Lafayette is that. And you were probably searching a little bit for like, you know, how do I fit in? But like I view Lafayette as a place that like I can mold, that I can be a part of something. I can be a part of change in something here that's special. And I think you probably saw that a little bit. You know, you felt like there was a place for you here, right? To insert change in the love that you have for kids. And Pop-Up Kids Theater was just that.
Exactly. And this program that you started, it met all those needs, you know, and the one, I mean, it just fit right in. I guess, you know, I just jumped in and, you know, enjoy the ride, basically. Let it take me where I wanted it to. But I was just so thrilled, you know. I was just so glad that I had that to keep me here.
Yeah.
Because after I got funded, you know, like I said, I had my bags. I was packing my bags when I was doing the 24-Hour Citizen Project. And I said, if I don't get funded tonight, I'm leaving.
Right.
I was leaving the next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should have said that in your pitch. It would have been even more compelling.
Oh my God. But yeah, I was just, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, but so it's kept me here, you know, and I had to stay.
That's it.
I got funded in August, and I had to stay because the program was in summer, you know. So I was like, oh man, now I got to do this.
Okay, that's a perfect segue. Okay, so you're holding your check.
Yes.
And we talked about the emotions, right? That was going through you. But like, what now? Like, even a $2,000 check, and you just pitch your idea to, a crowd of 150, 200 people, right? There's a level of accountability there.
Oh yeah.
I've got to get this done.
Yeah.
So what were your next steps? Like, break it down for me.
Well, my next step was to, Shannon had left by that time. He'd moved out of the area at that time.
Okay. So you built your team was you and Shannon.
Me and Shannon, right. We only had two people on our team.
So even a more like, oh, crap moment where we're like, I just lost Shannon, and he's like the backbone of this team. Now it's really
out.
on me. Right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's all on me. And I was like, what am I going to do? So, but I had a plan. Luckily, this 24-Hour Citizen Project helped me formulate the plan. And I knew that I was going to duplicate some things that I did in Orlando and bring them here. So I knew it was going to be in a park. I knew it was going to be outside, or inside, because it's the weather here. And I kind of had an idea of where to go with this. And so I knew, who to contact to get boxes. There's Brown's Furniture Store was going out of business. So, I knew kind of, so that was my first thing to do, was to contact the Girard Park and to work with them and to see, how much it would cost to have an indoor space and stuff.
So you knew you needed a location.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
What is like, so assume that another community is listening to you and they're saying, I want to pop up kids
right.
theater monument. Like, what are the things that you want to look for in a location?
One thing is, I was glad that the location that we settled on was where the kids already were, instead of having the kids come to us. And that's what I think would be really good, if they do that and go to the kids instead of have the kids come to us. Because that was something in Orlando that we struggled with. We didn't know how many kids we would have. One Saturday we may have, 6 kids. Another Saturday we may have 12. We just never knew. And so, and if that was the case, we would just go in and be part of the theater project. So we wanted it to be more just the kids involved. So it was nice to be able to partner with the New Hope Community Development Center, where the kids already were, and to partner in their summer program, be a part of their summer program, which was such a good fit.
But before that, I mean, you had met with Girard Park, you've met with a rec center, right? So you had several conversations, and there were some barriers, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was financial barriers. I did not realize how much the cost is, like to rent one room for 1 hour of a time here. I was like, wow, it's very expensive here. Yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, we've got to be able to, think of another plan. Yeah. Because we wouldn't be able to fund it,
So these parks, I mean, ideally you want an indoor space. Right. Right? You want an indoor space. Obviously, cost for you was an issue because you had $2,000 and you wanted this to be a program that you do on a continual basis, right? So you wanted to try and be as conservative as you could. And then you mentioned something I think is key, and that is you want the kids to come to you. Right? Is that what you said? Meaning, like, participation is key. You don't want to have to worry about hosting an event, right? And saying, hey, sending this message out to everyone and saying, hey, everybody, there's pop-up kids theater coming at Girard Park or whatever park at, 4 p.m. today. You want to go. I mean, look, there are programs that are out there in communities where kids are already there. And you could enter your program within whatever program. And
easily do it. And I even reached out to the Boys Club of Acadiana, the Boys and Girls Club of Acadiana. I reached out to them. I reached out to all 3 of the directors. I had the opportunity to run into all 3 of them. And I pitched the idea. I was going to give them this idea. And I was hoping that they would contact me back, but they haven't, I don't know if they're I don't know. Maybe the interest isn't there yet. Sure. But I'm hoping to, branch it out into other, and give it away. I wouldn't be doing it, per se, but I would be a consultant in guiding them. So it's something I do want to expand more in the Acadiana area to other groups. Sure. And we are looking at, and it's kind of interesting. There's a term called at-risk kids, but it's called at-promise kids. And when I heard that on NPR, I was like, that's the kind of kids. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And I'm thinking maybe this year we're doing it also in the summer program, but I'm thinking about expanding it next year. Yeah. And bringing a diverse, more more diverse group of kids.
Sure.
And I'm going to be talking to Christine and John Newman at the New Hope Development Center.
Yeah.
If I can get outside kids to come in and work with their kids. And
Okay, don't give away all your secrets yet. We've got a long time.
Okay. Uh-oh.
No, you're good. I love it. You're constantly thinking ahead.
Oh,
That's
it's about,
good.
well, again, I'm trying to keep me here. See, there's an underlying motive here.
We are too. So whatever we can do to keep you here, let us know.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
There you go. So let's go back to location.
Sure.
So you met with New Hope.
Yes.
Okay, and New Hope was the thing that you've been looking for, because you had so many barriers in place with other parks.
Oh yeah, I was
stuff.
afraid that I wouldn't be able to do it.
Could you tell us a little bit about New Hope?
Oh God.
And what that meeting was like with
Christine and John.
Yeah.
They were at first, very not reluctant. They were just skeptical, because they said a lot of people come in here and they promise to do things and they don't fulfill that promise. And so when I told them all the ideas I had, they go, yeah, okay. And then it's kind of like, well, do it. And I was like, yeah, this will happen, And then when they saw, like, the first show happen, they were like, oh, she's serious, she's really doing it.
Yeah.
And then they saw I continued to do it. They're like, oh, they wanted to hire me and all this stuff. And I was like, no, I'm just here, for this little program and stuff. So it was a good, I'm glad that they were kind of skeptical at first, because they said so many people come in here, they promise things to the kids.
Yeah.
We don't want to make those promises to the kids anymore and be disappointed.
Yeah, there is a trust factor, and I get it. But so you were able to overcome that. And they said, okay, so how do we fit this into our program? And I think it was the summertime.
It's the summertime
period of a couple of weeks there. So tell me what that programming looks like. So it's a summertime. How long is it?
It's Monday through Friday.
Okay.
It's in the mornings, usually in the morning, from like 9:30 or 9 to 3.
Okay.
Usually.
Right.
And so I told him, I said, well, can we have a block in the afternoon, like from 12:30 to 3:30? I think it's 3:30. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we asked him for that block on Fridays.
Okay.
We said we're going to come in on Fridays. They're like, okay, and then we divvied up the kids, because that was really good that they understood. Well, the younger group of kids maybe need more assistance than the older kids, and so that's how we broke it up. We broke it up into the boys and girls, and then we broke it up into the younger boys, younger girls, older boys.
Yeah.
And so we performed 4 plays.
Okay, so 4 plays. All right, so we've got the structure in place. We know how we divvy up, that we separate out the kids. Let's assume that this room is full of kids. Okay, hear me out. How do you implement this thing, right? And do you need volunteers? You have a script. What does the props look like? Walk me through all of that.
That's a good, because I did reach out to, there is a person, Carrie, I don't remember his last name. He's Hamburg, Carrie Hamburg. I reached out to him because he provides set designs. He designs all these sets for UL performances. So I reached out to him one day and I said, do you have any leftover set stuff I can go rummage through? He goes, yeah, come by the house. So I got like a tree already created and some other things I just grabbed and put them in my car. He gave me a lot of styrofoam and, just stuff. And I got that, and then I brought it to the kids. And so I already kind of had the script in my head. I wrote it myself, just taking it from, like, maybe there's a nursery book called the first one was The Runaway Bunny. And so what I did was I modified the scripts for that first one. And then what I did is I got a few little things, like what was nice about getting the funding was I could buy, like real bunny ears that they could wear, so we didn't have to make those kinds of things. To make it look a little more, realistic than just, something.
You can't use your imagination all the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you got to have something to
Some
go,
things
okay.
have to be really obvious.
Yeah, right. So, and it was so much easier to do that. So that's why it was nice to have have that funding to be able to have the flexibility to buy the materials when I needed them. And so then I did that and brought them to the New Hope. And then also too, when I got the kids in the room, I just told them, I said, this is what we're doing. I kind of calmed them down, to talk louder than they do.
You almost have to sell yourself to kids too sometimes.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
Because they're kind of looking at you saying, wait, who's
yeah,
this woman?
Exactly.
Why is she here? I'm used to John and Christine.
Right. And I had to come in and say hello to each one of them, explain who I am, explain what they're doing. And the minute, though, these kids are just incredible. Because the minute I told them what we were doing, they would volunteer. They go, I want to be the bunny. I want to be this. I want to be that. So it wasn't, I had to really, some of them you do have to encourage. But the ones that, that are kind of holding back, that's the ones that you still bring them in. You don't just leave them held back. You say, well, then you could hold this, or you could, come in here and you could present we had to make like a little river. We had to make, the little props for it, the scene for the whole thing. And so and once they got into it, and I made sure that each group of kids, like say for instance, if I had a small little group of kids and I had maybe 15, that I would provide, they did something in the play. Yeah. I didn't leave anybody out. Yeah. Whether they were a narrator, whether they just said a couple words, whether they came in with something, they were all a part of it. Yeah. So they didn't feel like, well, why did they get to do that?
Right. That's special. And I think that's a key element to why the program is a success.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you show up with props, but you show up with a script too. So tell me what that looks like. I mean, it's got to be a short script, right?
Oh,
I mean,
very
you've only
short.
got You've got 3 hours. Is that what you allotted? 3.5, and then to learn a script, go through it with all the kids, and then perform a show, right?
Right. So, and the script was the words that they had to like it was 1 or 2 sentences. Yeah. I didn't make it very hard for them. Right. So that's why I narrowed it down. And then the props helped them remember what they were going to say. Like if it was a river, they knew that they had to talk about the river. Right. If it was a carrot, they had to talk about the carrot kind of thing. So the props helped them. And if they forgot, we would just yell it out. This is yell out their cues to them and stuff. Right. But the first time they did it, I didn't have to do that. Wow. And the rehearsal part, we rehearsed we did. We rehearsed and we rehearsed without the costumes. Then we rehearsed with the costumes, and then we do a final rehearse before we go. And do it. So.
And it's a little bit chaotic. So
it's extremely.
I don't want people to think that this is like this beautifully structured thing. I mean, I remember volunteering with you for one of the shows, and you got kids running around with bunny ears on. You got them fighting over who wants to be the tree. Right. And so. And then you have to go around and go through the lines. Right. And you mentioned something which is cool. You've got not just 2 types of kids, but like 2 types of kids that I observe. You got the ones that are like, yeah, I want the sword, I want that part, I want to be whoever. And then you've got the others who are like, they're in the corner like I don't know. But the cool thing is when you come full circle with the show. The shy kids that say their line, those are the ones that light up. Man, that is what makes it so special. It's amazing.
And when you say chaotic, I mean, the first show we did have paint involved, right? And that we're limiting that this time because there was paint everywhere. Right. As much as we tried to contain the paint. Right. I mean, it's watercolor paint. You can water paint based. So I realized, this is not a good idea. Yeah. And I don't know why we started with this group. We started with the kind of the kids that need more attention. Let's just say the younger boys. They're very rowdy and they're very chaotic. So when John saw that, wow, she could accomplish that with this first group of kids, then she can do a lot.
Bring her back.
Exactly. He says, okay, she's in.
You know what I love about it too is it sends a good message to kids that they can just be messy. To be creative doesn't necessarily mean that you have to plan and do things perfectly. Right. Just show up and do and just act and be and be a kid. And so I think that is, and kids that age get it. For some reason, when we get to adulthood, we think that, like we're scared of failure.
Right, right. And we don't want to do it wrong.
And we don't want to do it wrong. Yeah, exactly. Kids teach us, and this teaches us that that's an okay thing to do. Like, let's just
oh my God!
go for it.
And nothing. That's what I liked about this program. It's not perfect. It's not a well performed play. It's not. It is. We call it playtime.
Right.
And that's what the whole concept is to get them engaged together and be. Introduce them to the arts, the drama, the dramatic arts, and then just run with it, however they wanted to. I would say, okay, this is what I want this to be. I want this to be a river. So y'all just, here's the paint, go for it. I didn't have to say, oh no, don't do that. No. That's not what we want. We don't want hovering over them. We don't want them to say, well, that wasn't done right. No. And I think they appreciated it so much.
Yeah, that's what makes the program so special. Really, it really, really does. Okay, so now that we've gotten past the organized chaos, like going through the script and the props, tell me what the show looks like and kind of how that happens.
Oh God, the show's really cute. So there's a lunchroom area that the kids go into, and then the audience. So it's nice that we have a big audience too, because like I said, in Orlando we didn't have much of a big audience. So it's nice that if you do have it in a group, that you have that audience built in. And so so I would introduce what we're going to be doing. And the kids would all be, in a line. They would all be in their costumes and everything.
Well, first off, just so that for my imagination, who's in the audience? Who's watching? So you have all the other kids watching.
All the other kids, the other groups that will be a part of pop up in their next weeks. Okay. So it's the younger girls and the older boys and the older girls. Okay. So there's about 30 to 40 kids in the audience.
Great.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Okay.
Because then when they see that, they go, oh, I can't wait till she comes back.
Right.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I got you off course for a little bit.
No, that's okay.
All right. So the show.
So we put up the props first. Okay. And then and it's not. I do need volunteers. That's one thing. When you were asking me about, I do need volunteers because it does help to have volunteers go in between the scenes and to help with the kids. Because I know I can't do it all, and the staff there has been wonderful, but I know I need to bring more people in from outside to help me with put on the plays and stuff. But so we put up the props, and then we do it scene by scene, so it makes it easier for the kids, so the kids know, and I make sure they're in line of when the next person's going to come up, so they're not, that's all organized. That's the only organized part of it. Yeah. Okay, if you're going next, you're right here. If you're going, keep all the ducks in a row. Right. But imagine this. Imagine little boys in bunny ears with cotton glued on, on the back of their shirts. Yeah. And they loved it. Yeah. I'm like, it was just incredible.
That is great.
And they got into it. And when their bunny tail would fall off, they go, "Can you put it back on, please, please?" It wasn't like this is not what I want. Right. No, they were like, "Yeah, I need it back on for my, because I'm going next."
Yes. And how long does this show last? It's just a couple minutes.
Oh right? Yeah, it only lasts like 5 minutes.
And then everybody cheers.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like a sense of like we completed this thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We learned a script. We executed on this play, and then we're done. And
look at what we accomplished.
Look at what we accomplished all in 3 hours, and it didn't take. Yeah, I love it. What a great concept. So you mentioned something earlier about the parents' involvement and how that is key. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
It was in Orlando. This time, since we are having it like at the center, where the parents are not that involved with, they're involved in the summer program, but they're not there. I know John Newman wants to do something. There's a parent night, and that he's been trying to coordinate that. We haven't been able to really coordinate that, but we know that the parents know about it, because I've met some of the parents outside of New Hope. When they've come, they have around town, they've seen me, and they go, "That's the lady," you know. And so the parents have come to me and said, you know, how wonderful. They even talk about it outside of the center, which
awesome.
is incredible. But I definitely was thinking, you know, when I do this again, I would definitely like to do more parent involvement.
Yeah, I think I like that. And especially for, what did you call them? At Promise Kids?
At Promise Kids, yeah.
I think having parent involvement, I think, would be good, and it might even cut down on the number of volunteers that you need to have.
And
right?
yeah.
Okay. So, let's talk about, like, what are the things that I think the things that you loved about this project have been clear to us so far. It's usually a question that I ask. You love the kids. You clearly love the process and the impromptu nature of it. What have been the things that were barriers to you? And we talked about them a little bit, you know, initially, like location and cost of a place and all of that. But for people listening that want to do this in their community, what are like some of the tough stuff that you might have had to experience to like implement it?
I took it on myself, and I could have asked for more volunteers, but I took it on myself for the scripts, and it was a little rough, you know, on my own to modify some of the already nursery books that are out there. But then I wrote one of them. I wrote the whole script myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, we're going for it. You know, we were doing the King Arthur. We were doing Excalibur.
What were some of the names of the plays? Runaway Bunny.
Runaway Bunny,
one.
The Magic Tree.
Yeah.
Excalibur was.
That's great.
Yeah, and then the older girls. What we did with them is we got them involved more in. They picked. I had a book that I got from the library, and I picked a female hero out of the book. And I had them make like a placard of something that represented that female hero, and they had to write a speech about that hero, what they considered. And they got to pick whoever they wanted. And so, what they did was I went like on a Tuesday and gave them the book and presented it to them, the idea and stuff. And they worked on it through the week. So they kind of had their speech already done. And then I had, then the making of the placards and stuff were done in that time of the pop-up, and then the rehearsal and everything. Okay. So yeah, it wasn't so much a play, it was more of a presentation.
Right.
You know.
Right. Tell me about some of your key partners in the community. So, like, New Hope obviously has been a big one. You got some UL, maybe a little bit of an impact, like providing some props to you.
Right.
Wasn't AOC
part of
it? Yeah.
Yeah, AOC was a big part of it.
And what is AOC?
Acadiana Open Channel.
Okay.
And what they do, it's a nonprofit open channel where you can go and produce your own television shows or podcast or radio shows. And since I was already involved with them for a radio show, I thought, wow, it'd be good if they came out and videotaped it. And so they did come out, and they came out a couple of times and videotaped parts of the shows, and then they put it together like in a 11-minute segment. Okay. And it was aired on television on AOC.
We've got to get a copy of that. We don't have a copy of that on the website.
Yeah, I'll give it. I have a copy.
Okay.
Actually, I have a copy.
Is it on a YouTube channel? Is it on the AOC's YouTube channel?
No? It may be. Okay. It may be, but I have a copy. I'll send it to you.
We'll get it, and we'll post it on 24hourcitizenproject.com on your project page, so people can go check it out.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, because it really shows the kids in action. Yeah. And it really shows the whole process, too, because they came when we were actually creating the costumes. And
oh, great.
Yeah, they got they were there the whole 3 hours.
Wow.
Which was really cool. So they got the whole process down. Okay. And then they were there for the performance.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
And this was the older kids.
So Pop-Up Kids Theater is not an organization, right?
No.
It's not a nonprofit.
No.
It's just you and a couple of volunteers that go and help put on this program every year, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. No, I love it. And tell me this, just so that people kind of understand is, what was the timeline for you? Like, so you were funded, you were funded July 29th, 2017. When did you When were you able to do pop-up kids theater after? So I think it was a whole year after,
Well, it was
right?
in-
Because it was
yeah.
the summer of 2018.
Right,
Okay.
that we did it in June. We started because I
Okay.
wanted to make sure we finished by the end date of the
Right,
24-hour Citizen
right.
Project.
So I mean, the takeaway there is just patience. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had been at this for months, having some meetings, trying to figure out. You know, you've got $2,000 sitting in the bank, and me asking you, man, Danielle, what's going on? What's happening with your project?
Right,
How are we
right.
going to make
I
this
know
happen?
you were very encouraging too, because you were trying to find ways. Well, can you do it for Easter? Can you do it for Christmas?
Right.
Can you do it? And I was like, no,
No,
we're not ready.
we're not ready.
We're not ready.
Okay, so the takeaway is patience for me.
Right, that's it. I've got more patience, but no, I'm teasing.
No, I think it's great. So good. I mean, you know, it happened a year after
Right.
after you got funded, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes these things take a long time, especially if you already don't have, you know, the partnerships in place, right?
Right,
And I think the
right.
24-hour Citizen Project helped you with some of that, right, during the 24-hour period.
Oh yeah.
But it still shows that sometimes you leave these things and you don't really have all of the details figured out, but you have the confidence that you can get it done.
Right.
Um,
And that's what it was. It was having those supporters there in that Friday evening
Right.
really cemented it for me. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, I can do this, because I still wasn't sure
Right.
when I walked in there, because I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
You know, and then by myself, and all these people, I have 4 people, and a lot of team members. I'm like, again, I'm new to the air, back in town, new to everything, and I'm like, where is this gonna happen?
well, you figured it out.
Yeah, we did. We
Good
figured
job.
it out.
So what advice would you give to another community that wants to do something like this?
Oh wow. I think that they should do it. That's one thing. I mean, it's so easy. It's not that difficult to do, and I think that they do need to partner up probably more with drama departments, theater departments. Which was nice last night at the Idea Exchange. I even got more people that know other people in the area that are into theater and stuff.
Right.
So I can got those connections made, which was really good.
Right.
So yeah, I think that if they and they don't have to get all their, like you said, all their ducks in a row first. They just have to have the confidence and the it's not even have the know-how, but have people help them,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. I also think about how other communities can do this. I think about schools, right? Like after school programs.
Easily.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe even like drama club programs in a school.
That would be
Right?
really good. God, that would be
And
great.
so anyway, I think there's a lot. I mean, your avenue is I wouldn't call it unique. I mean, I think that it's a perfect fit.
Right.
With New Hope, it's an after-school program, but it's not associated with the school. It's a standalone program for a specific neighborhood for at-risk kids.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of other applications for pop-up kids theater. We even talked, and we joke about it. We even talked about doing a pop-up adult theater.
We need to do that.
I
We
think
really
that-
do.
I think we need to do that.
I think it'd be so fun.
Yeah.
And
I've got some friends that do supper club, where they get together. It's like 10 of them, and they eat dinner together. I think they need to scratch that whole idea and do like a pop-up adult theater at their house with some wine.
Maybe don't call it adult theater. Maybe call it just pop-up theater
Yeah,
for
okay.
adults,
That's
because
true.
people might get the wrong idea.
That's true. That's true.
It's not what they're thinking.
Pop-up theater.
No, I
Oh,
think that'd
boy.
be. I'd love to do that. I would love to. I would. I think it'd be so fun.
I think so too.
And that's something that, it could be easily, everybody's got some cardboard laying around. Everybody's got some sheets laying around. And,
That's it.
everybody's got some kind of costume from Mardi Gras around here.
And at heart, I think adults really just want to be kids.
Exactly.
Right.
To bring back to that fun and enjoyment of something and still, perform.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to perform. We know
You're
that.
right. You're right.
Everybody likes to be, nowadays, everybody likes to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, that is very true.
Ooh, that would be really cool that we could film it. And,
Yeah.
huh.
I don't know if AOC would be on board.
No, I don't think they would.
Now, this isn't content that we want to distribute.
Right. But it's something that we could definitely do.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to plan a date.
Okay, so then my next question is, all right, let's take that concept aside.
Right.
Let's focus on the Pop-Up Kids Theater. What now? Right? So you did it last summer,
right.
and the scope of the 24-Hour Citizen Project was like, okay, define a timeline, an amount of time to do this once, right? But I heard that you're doing it again this summer with New Hope. Is that right?
Yeah, we already had it. We already had a. We're doing it a little different, and that's one thing. If people are interested, it doesn't have to be exactly like it's not exactly how it was last summer. Mm-hmm. We're doing it a little differently, mm-hmm. and so I'm incorporating from where their curriculum is. Mm-hmm. So their whole curriculum this summer is on inventors. So I'm taking that theme, and then we did Leonardo da Vinci. And it was so cute. We had them dress up, like in just, a brown sheet with, the tide of the ropes, and made a beard out of gray material, and they were so cute. They made like an invention. They would make a little trebuchet, or they made like a little swing bridge, out of popsicle sticks, out of styrofoam. They made a dragonfly, and then they had to write. I gave them an outline of what I needed for them to write. Right. They wrote it, and then we got together and we rehearsed it and put it together, and they did that last 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're starting it again in another 2 weeks, because they have we take off for time for in between July 4th or something.
You got to let me know when the next one is, so that I can come help.
Sure, thanks.
We did it last summer for a day or two, and it was just. I had a friend in town from Missouri, and he was like, "I love this. There's so much fun."
Oh, that's cool. Well, I was glad that y'all came in.
Yeah, I know.
Really, I needed y'all so badly.
I walked in, I felt like, oh wow, Danielle really needed the help.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me this. Do you think this project would have happened if it wasn't for the 24-Hour Citizen Project?
No, it wouldn't have. I would have been gone.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I was packing my bags.
Yeah.
Even when I met you for the TEDx, I thought, I need to go.
Yeah. Well.
And so really, you're the reason I'm still here.
That's a big responsibility.
I know. I just want to let you know.
Well, you know what, though?
I'm teasing you.
I think on a grand scale, I think what it does, and we talk about this all the time with the 24-Hour Citizen Project, is like you have people. There's two types of people. And this could be wrong, but like this is our belief. There's two types of people in communities, right? So there are those that really love a place, and those are the people that do, they're like the same 10 people that do everything. Right? And then you've got people that are angry about a place. Those are the folks that show up at a city council meeting. They're both the people that love a community and the people that are angry about things going on in a community, or people that actually act and do things.
Oh, right.
Right? But then there's all these other people that just have neutral feelings about the community, that just kind of like, just go through the motions, go to work, but like don't really take action. And that's what this does, is it allows, or that's what all these projects do, but yours particularly is once you go through the process of pursuing a project and doing it, you end up coming out of that process loving Lafayette or your community more than you did before. And so I think that's just a really important message that your project is living proof of, right?
Wow,
for you.
For me, really, I mean, it's real. I mean, it's definitely, yeah.
And it's just a pop-up kids theater.
I know, it's not a big deal,
It is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's a big deal, but you're right. I mean, it's just those little micro contributions that we make to the community.
Right, it's not my work. It's not my, it's not my hobbies. Yeah. It's this.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's what really kept me here.
Well, thank you.
Oh.
So, all right. So you're gonna do it this summer.
Yeah, do it this summer.
And then we'll just see where next summer.
I'm already thinking about next summer. Like I said, I'm expanding next summer.
Okay.
And bring in kids that from last night's event, people were interested. They said, "Oh, I've got kids. They would love to come." And then now people are starting to ask me, "When are you doing it? I'm going to bring my kids." So that's what I'm going to hopefully next year expand it to where we have more of a diverse group, and we could bring kids from the outside with the New Hope kids and perform it and make it even bigger.
How do people get in touch with you, Danielle?
They can email me at moroux@att.net.
Okay.
Or they can call me at 407-894-2126.
Okay, great. And you're okay with communities reaching out to you?
Oh, I'd love for communities to, I would love to be able to expand this concept, because like I've expanded it from Orlando.
That's true.
So just imagine where it could go from there. And I know that the founder, the Black Swan Theatre, he would be, because he has a passion just like I did.
Yeah.
He inspired me to do this here. So, I would love for other communities to do it and reach out. And, I could help them and, get them started.
Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Look, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, watching your project come from just an idea and an event all the way to now 2 summer programs. So we're proud of you. We want to keep you here as long as we can.
Well, thank you. What I liked about presenting that night was everybody else had these huge props, and all I had was a cardboard box.
That's right. But
that's all I had.
But that is what your project was all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you, Butch, so much. Really.
Absolutely. Thank you, and I hope Pop-Up Kids Theater continues to live on.
I think it would.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.